The atmosphere in the White House was tense. President Donald Trump sat at his desk, flipping through classified reports. The words possible security breach kept appearing in red on every page. His chief of staff, Ethan Carter, stood across from him, concern written all over his face. "Mr. President, we have a problem. There's a mole inside the White House." Trump leaned back, his expression unreadable. "A spy? In my house?" Ethan nodded. "Someone is leaking classified information to foreign entities. We don't know who it is yet, but we have a list of suspects." Trump's face darkened. "Find out who it is, and when you do, bring them to me." Ethan knew that tone. The president was ready for war. For weeks, Ethan and a team of intelligence experts worked behind the scenes, analyzing every security feed, every phone call, every email. The leaks were subtle but dangerous. Top-secret government plans, policy drafts, even military strategies were somehow making their way into the wrong hands. One name kept surfacing: Michael Donovan. He was a high-ranking advisor, someone Trump had trusted for years. When Ethan confronted Donovan in a quiet hallway of the White House, the man simply smirked. "Ethan, you think you can stop this? This goes deeper than you can imagine." Ethan's fists clenched. "Then let's see how deep." Ethan wasted no time. He reported everything to Trump, who listened in silence before finally slamming his fist onto the desk. "Get him in here, now!" Within minutes, Donovan was escorted into the Oval Office, 2 Secret Service agents standing behind him. Trump eyed him carefully. "So, Mike, is it true?" Donovan exhaled slowly before smirking. "I don't know what you're talking about, Mr. President." Trump chuckled, shaking his head. "Wrong answer." He gestured, and Ethan threw a thick folder onto the table. Proof of the leaks, every message Donovan had sent to unknown contacts, every secret meeting he had attended. "You betrayed me, Mike. You betrayed your country." Donovan's smirk faded. "You don't understand, Mr. President. I wasn't acting alone." Trump narrowed his eyes. "Then tell me, who are you working for?" Donovan hesitated. Trump leaned forward. "Talk now, or I make sure you rot in prison for the rest of your life." Finally, Donovan spoke. "It's bigger than you think, sir. The people behind this, they're inside the government. They're inside the system itself." Ethan's stomach dropped. This wasn't just one rogue agent. This was something much bigger. That night, Ethan met with a trusted intelligence contact outside the White House. "Who are these people?" Ethan asked. The man hesitated before handing over a flash drive. "They call themselves the Network, a secret group pulling the strings behind Washington's biggest decisions, and they don't like unpredictable leaders." Ethan frowned. "You mean they don't like Trump?" The man nodded. "They want someone they can control, and Trump isn't that person." Ethan felt the weight of the situation sink in. This wasn't just about a mole. This was about power, a silent war between the elected president and the unseen forces trying to control him. Trump wasn't one to sit back and let things unfold. He fought back. Using the information from the flash drive, Trump ordered a covert operation. The plan? Leak false information and see who took the bait. Within 48 hours, the trap worked. Someone inside the White House accessed the fake files and forwarded them to an unknown server. Ethan traced the location. "We got him!" The mole was not just Michael Donovan. There was someone higher up, someone much more dangerous. Donovan had disappeared. Someone had tipped him off. Trump, furious, demanded action. "I want him found! Now!" Ethan and his team tracked Donovan to a private airstrip just outside D.C. When they arrived, a black SUV was already speeding down the runway toward a waiting jet. Ethan grabbed a radio. "Shut it down! Now!" With a loud roar, security vehicles blocked the jet's path. The SUV skidded to a stop and Secret Service agents swarmed the car. Inside, Michael Donovan and an unidentified man. Ethan yanked open the door, gun drawn. "End of the road, Mike," Donovan smirked. "You're too late." The man beside him calmly raised his hands. "I'd like to speak to the president." Ethan's blood ran cold. Who the hell was this guy? Trump stood in the Oval Office, arms crossed as the mysterious man was escorted in. The man sat down, adjusting his tie. "Mr. President, my name is Charles Harrington. I represent certain interests in this country." Trump scoffed. "You mean the network?" Harrington smiled. We prefer to operate quietly. But you make too much noise. Trump's eyes locked onto his. I don't work for you, Charles. Harrington nodded. We know. That's why we tried to remove you. Ethan clenched his fists. Then why are you here? Harrington leaned forward. To make a deal. Harrington smoothed his suit jacket and said calmly, You step down quietly and we let you walk away clean. No scandals, no investigations, just a peaceful exit. Trump smirked. And if I say no? Harrington's smile didn't fade. Then we ruin you. We bury you under so much legal trouble that you'll wish you had taken our offer. Silence. Then Trump stood up. You people have been running this country from the shadows for too long. That ends today. He turned to Ethan. Get me everything we have on these bastards. I want names, faces, addresses. We're taking the fight to them. Harrington simply chuckled. You'll regret this. Trump leaned in close. No, Charles, you will. Secret Service agents moved in and escorted Harrington out. Ethan turned to Trump. What now? Trump cracked his knuckles. Now, we drain the swamp for real. Trump sat at a long table in the White House, surrounded by Ethan and a few of his most trusted advisors. Scattered across the table were piles of documents, secret financial transactions, records of backdoor meetings, and hints about who was really pulling the strings in Washington. Ethan slid a thick folder toward Trump. Mr. President, Michael Donovan was just a messenger. These are the real masterminds. Trump opened the file. Inside were names. Some of the most powerful businessmen, media moguls, and high-ranking politicians in the country. Trump shook his head. These people, they've been supporting me for years. How is this possible? Ethan sighed. They supported you because they thought they could control you. But the moment you started thinking for yourself, you became a threat. Trump clenched his jaw. Then we play by their rules. Who do we go after first? Ethan tapped the screen in front of them, bringing up a face. Senator Richard Coleman. He's the brains of the operation. If we take him down, the whole thing collapses. The next day, Trump left the White House and headed to Capitol Hill. He had personally requested a private meeting with Senator Richard Coleman. When Coleman walked in, he flashed a confident smile and extended his hand. Mr. President, what can I do for you today? Trump didn't shake his hand. Instead, he locked eyes with him. I know, Richard. Coleman raised an eyebrow. Know what, Mr. President? Trump pressed a button on his desk. Ethan walked in, carrying a stack of documents. I know you tried to take me down. I know you planted a spy in the White House. I know Michael Donovan worked for you. Coleman let out a deep breath. Then, to Trump's surprise, he chuckled. Oh, Donald, do you really think you're in charge here? Trump stood up, his face dark with anger. I'm the president, Richard, and I won't be anyone's puppet. Coleman narrowed his eyes. You can't stop us, Donald. We're everywhere. Just then the door swung open. 2 Secret Service agents stepped inside. Ethan turned to Coleman. You underestimated us, Senator. The president still holds power. And right now, you're under arrest for conspiracy against the United States. Coleman's smug expression vanished. You can't do this. Trump smirked. I'm the president, Richard. And today, we'll see who's really in control. The agents handcuffed Coleman and led him out of the room. Coleman's arrest sent shockwaves through Washington. Every news outlet in the country was talking about it. The FBI and CIA launched full-scale investigations. More names surfaced. Some powerful figures resigned overnight. Others were placed under surveillance. Michael Donovan agreed to testify, spilling everything he knew. Back in the White House, Trump sat in his office with Ethan, watching the news reports. Ethan turned to him. So, did we win, Mr. President? Trump exhaled slowly, his eyes still sharp. We won this battle, Ethan. But the war? That never really ends. Ethan nodded. At least now we know who our real enemies are. Trump leaned back in his chair. And more importantly, we know who's really in charge now. Outside the White House, the lights of Washington, D.C. gleamed in the night. America's enemies in the shadows had lost their grip. But Trump knew. There was always another battle waiting on the horizon. And this time, he was ready. If you liked this story, please don't forget to like the video and share it with your friends. Subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications for more inspiring stories. Remember, sometimes a small act of kindness can completely change a life.